Welcome back to Shin Before Sin. With the recent celebration of Pesach, this episode will talk about the international Passover traditions.
One Passover tradition that I'm going to focus on is the post-Passover tradition of Maimuna. This tradition is most popular in the Maghrebi Jewish community, or Jews with descent in the North African region. According to MyJewishLearning.com, Maimuna is the after-Passover tradition that involves a big feast of wheat-based foods after the week of not eating wheat. What is especially interesting about this tradition is that its origins are unclear, but stories suggest origins are very different. The idea about the origin of this holiday is that it is a celebration of prayer for a successful agricultural season. Maimuna is derived from the Arabic word for wealth and good fortune, literally protected by God, ma'amun. And since Passover falls right before the agricultural new year, it is a prayer for good luck. Personally, this holiday sounds like one big celebration of bread, and if anyone is throwing a Maimuna party, hit me up with an invite.
Hasidic Jews from the Polish town of Góra Kalwaria, known as Gerer Hasidim, reenact the crossing of the Red Sea on the seventh day of Passover by pouring water on the floor, lifting up their coats, and naming the towns that they would cross in the region of Poland. They do this to try and feel for their ancestors. At the same time, they do this in order to become closer with the earth and God.
Ethiopian Jews, also known as Beta Israel, have been isolated from the rest of the Jewish population for thousands of years, and as a result, according to New York Jewish Week, they have developed their own unique Passover traditions. Time magazine explains that one of the most important customs is breaking all of their dishes and utensils and replacing them, thus symbolizing the end of slavery in Egypt and the start of a new journey of freedom. But this tradition also has incredible relevance in Ethiopian Jewish modern history. BBC wrote that in the 80s and 90s, Israel launched rescue operations for Ethiopian Jews to escape violence and religious persecution in their homeland. These operations, called Operation Moses and Operation Solomon, along with Israel-established refugee camps, relocated nearly 30,000 Jews to Israel. So the tradition of breaking and replacing dishes doesn't just represent the biblical Jews' difficult past and hopeful future. It also represents the struggles Jews in Ethiopia faced in the 20th century and their venture into a free world.
Another Passover tradition observed by people in Iran and Afghanistan is being whipped with scallions. It is done before singing the song Dayenu. According to Times magazine, before the song begins, one participant of the Seder stands up and whips other members of the feast with scallions. This is meant to symbolize the whips that slave drivers used in ancient Egypt to torment many Jews. Similar to the bitter herbs, they use the onion to symbolize the harshness of slavery.
On ReformJudaism.org, Rabbi Marla J. Feldman writes about Dayenu's relevance to gun control. Dayenu means it would have been enough, but in this case we say it should have been enough. After each mass shooting, that should have been enough to call for better gun control, but instead shootings continue to occur. Feldman writes that when we send thoughts and prayers but no actions, when we do not improve background checks or do not ban the sale of military assault weapons, we are not doing enough. Feldman closes with a parallel of the four questions.
Why on this very day will 7 children and teens be killed with a gun? Why on this very day will multiple women be killed by an intimate partner with a gun? Why on this very day will there be more than 30 gun homicides in the United States? When will enough be enough? If you would like to hear more about Shin Before Sin's thoughts on gun policy and guns in the United States and the Jewish community, we have 2 podcasts that are up on our channel.
As you can see, there are so many wonderful Passover customs and traditions throughout the globe. Although Passover is such a popular and beloved Jewish holiday, each culture has their own unique way of celebrating it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Shin Before Sin. See you next week.